Good morning, I'm Dee Jordan. I'm helping the Chamber of Commerce interview candidates for the school board this morning. And this morning we have with us Norm Silbaugh. And thank you, Norm, for joining us. And
thank you for inviting
taking
me.
some time out of your day to come and explain to us your position on the school board.
Thank you.
Or as a candidate for the school board. So we have a few questions we're going to ask. Please go into the detail that you would like for the public to understand your positions for the school board. And I'll just start off with the first one. And the first question is, are you advocating for one or two high schools? And please discuss your views on that.
Okay. I come into this a little bit differently than most. I have been a teacher for 40 years. I retired after 30 years in Campbell County last year. And I think that the two high school idea is not only a good one, but it's already kind of a fait accompli. It's been done, it's been voted on. And I think that's kind of something that we need to move forward with, because I think the task already exists. It's there, it's a fact. What I want to make sure happens is that both the schools, both the high schools, are equally funded and equally staffed and equally given the opportunities for the same kind of courses. I taught at Twin Spruce for a long time, and in this community sometimes there's a good school and a bad school. And I don't want one of the high schools to become the good school and the other high school become the bad school. And that's my fear, and that's something I want to make sure the board really has access to: the teacher input, my input, and the students' input. I wish they would have done this a decade ago. Okay. When they had the opportunity, I wish they would have split the classes rather than a north and south campus. They would have done it then, to have two separate high schools.
Okay, and we'll come back and talk about funding for that.
Absolutely,
in just a bit,
you bet.
Because that is an important topic that we need to discuss.
Sure.
On the topic of the 7-day period versus the block system, which do you support and why?
Again, I have an advantage here. I've taught in both systems, so I know kind of what they're good for and what they need improvement on. I think my big push is going to look at a hybrid system. I know principals don't like it because it makes scheduling a nightmare, and it can. You're going to have different start and stop times. But I see so many kids coming into the classrooms in the schools that relish the thought of going to art and music and drama, and sometimes those are the only reasons, only classes they come to school is for those things. I would hate to see those be diminished. And I know my wife is an art teacher, retired art teacher, and she says we need the 90 minutes to get materials out, to get things set up, to work for 45 minutes to 50 minutes, and then be able to clean up. So as I see the kids come in this front door of every school, I see a lot more kids who need these kinds of hands-on things that they can do to keep attracted to come to school.
Okay. So we've heard that discussion on hybrid between the two of them from other candidates.
Sure.
I'm assuming that means that, like you said, some classes would be shorter than other classes. And how would you determine the length of certain classes?
I think what they're looking at now is 50 minutes for 7 periods a day, and that means, and the advantages are clear. If you have math every day and English every day as core classes, if the kid misses a class for an activity, for illness, it's much easier to make up that time, and they can have a class then every day. On the other hand, the 90-minute is every other day. So if a student misses a 90-minute period, or God forbid 2 of those periods, that's a whole week or more of work they have to make up. What I found in the 90 minutes is that the teachers have to plan shorter segments. I don't know very many teachers, I don't know about you, Deej, for sitting for 90 minutes straight and not doing something. Teachers have to be trained to do that. And the hands-on teachers, the technology, the art, the drama, the music, they are trained to kind of chunk up that 90-minute time so that the kids can stay on task. But the daily 45 to 50-minute classes do have an advantage for the core classes, I believe. Okay. And principals tell me, well, we're tested on those core classes, the science and the math and the English, therefore we should concentrate on those. And I say, you're right, but some kids, a larger percentage of kids today than before, come to school for those classes that are hands-on. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Okay, very good. Appreciate that. As financial constraints hit the state of Wyoming, do you feel full funding for K through 12 education should remain intact? And if so, what other state services or budgets should be reduced?
Interesting question to ask a school board member, I think. I think, of course, I'm going to advocate for as much funding as I can because I think it's our future for Wyoming. I'm not sure I have a whole lot of power or purview to make some of these decisions. I think that's a little beyond my pay grade, as they say. But again, if I'm an educator, if I'm a school board member, if I'm an advocate for kids, I'm going to absolutely advocate for as much funding as I can possibly get. And if I need to talk to legislators about that, I absolutely will.
How would you differentiate yourself from opposing candidates for this position?
I think because I have spent my life, again, 40 years in the classroom, and I taught special ed, so I work with kids with disabilities, emotional disabilities, behavioral disabilities, mental disabilities. I taught social studies in 9th grade, so I've dealt with the core classes. And I spent my last years in the school as a technologist and as a staff trainer. So I have my fingers on a lot of things. I watched the sausage being made in Campbell County, and I'd like to see the process be improved. I did a lot of negotiations with salaries and benefits as well for the school district with the school board. And I think the teachers need not only to be represented, but be spoken for. So oftentimes there are decisions made above our level and they come trickling down with not a whole lot of information given into that decision by the teachers. So I kind of differentiate myself as being an educator.
Well, I appreciate that.
Okay.
And we appreciate you coming in this morning, Norm, and thank you for your 40 years of service
Well,
as a
thank
teacher.
you. Thank you for allowing me to come in and spout off a little bit. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.